HIV on the red carpet in Rome.
In Germany.
Wrestlelamia. Barcelona, Spain.
We're excited to be here, and the fans are excited that we're here.
When WWE performs overseas, they are forced to ensure that all their superstars stick to the laws and customs of that particular country. However, even if they do this, they can still end up upsetting virtually the entire country if they accidentally do something that's completely against the morals of it. Over the years, there have been a number of incidents where WWE has produced a show in a country outside of the US and have been forced to apologize after one of their superstars acted out of line and ultimately upset an entire country of people.
Do you need me to say it in Spanish so you can understand what I'm saying?
And usually these incidents come from unscripted segments, but occasionally WWE manages to book a segment that unfortunately offends a lot of people. Now, not all of these incidents occurred overseas, as sometimes they can produce content on their television shows which takes place in the US.
Saddam Hussein did not invade Kuwait, he conquered Kuwait!
But which moments were there? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 8 times WWE disrespected an entire country. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists.
Yoshi-san! Gold standard!
Number 1. Kurt Angle blows his nose on the Indian flag.
The only thing that you inbred American peasant hicks cherish is cold, hard cash.
On the March 7th, 1999 edition of Sunday Night Heat, Tiger Ali Singh was cutting a promo in the ring and was offering money to members of the audience to part ways with their dignity in the form of them blowing their nose on the American flag. Tiger's attention would be directed towards a man in the front row, and this man just so happened to be Kurt Angle months before he would actually debut for WWE.
I love it. This kid is going to stand up here and make a stand for the United States of America against Tiger Ali Singh.
Well, he made a stand at the 1996 Olympics.
He was referred to by the announce team as the hero who stood up for the American flag at the Olympics. Tiger Ali Singh would invite Angle into the ring to perform the act, but instead of grabbing the American flag, Angle proceeded to grab the Indian flag and blow his nose on it.
He's got the Indian flag now. All right.
This was then followed by a physical confrontation which involved Angle getting the best of Tiger. The incident seriously damaged the relationship between WWE and India. In 2016, when they were about to undertake a tour of the country, the WWE International President had to release a statement apologizing for the incident, which was almost 20 years prior. The statement read, "This case is about 20 years ago and we did not deliberately do that. We have a great respect for the country. We are sorry that it happened, but we had no intention of doing it. India is a reputable country and we apologize for this." Number 2. The Big Show pulls down the Russian flag.
Rise for the Russian national anthem.
In 2014, WWE introduced Rusev and Lana to the main roster. They were two characters who hated America and American values. Of course, it was the typical anti-American gimmick shtick, but at one point during this gimmick, Rusev would feud with the likes of Mark Henry, Sheamus, and The Big Show during his first few months on the main roster, the latter being one of the more controversial feuds they have done in recent memory. Now, the issue arises when WWE produces a storyline that involves a country being mocked. Somebody is likely going to be offended. They can limit this by having certain characters counterbalance each other, so it looks like a certain country isn't getting completely buried on television. However, on the September 29th, 2014 edition of Raw, Rusev and Lana came to the ring to cut a typical heel promo, and then the Russian flag proceeded to drop down from the ceiling. The duo were then interrupted by The Big Show, who proceeded to tear down the Russian flag to a big ovation from the live audience.
I don't know if this is the wise idea, Big Show. Wait a minute. Oh!
The segment didn't go down well with WWE fans in Russia, who found the segment extremely offensive.
It was wrong on my part, and clearly it was disrespectful to our Russian people and our Russian fans, and I've apologized for that.
The segment was so poorly received that WWE were forced to publish an official apology on their website, and it read, "We at WWE would like to apologize to the Russian people for the incident on Monday Night Raw that could have been construed as disrespect for their nation's flag." Number 3, the Saudi government is upset with WWE for showing women on screen. Now, thankfully, WWE's relationship with Saudi Arabia is healthy enough that women are allowed to wrestle whenever the WWE produces a pay-per-view event in the country. Well, only until recently, as when it produced their first pay-per-view over there titled The Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018, it featured no female talent whatsoever, and this was by request by the Saudi government. However, during the show, Carmella and Sasha Banks would feature in an upcoming pay-per-view commercial which would air in the arena.
I need like a water.
We're not afraid of dreaming.
Unfortunately, the appearance of the two women went down extremely bad, with the Saudi Sport Authority who issued an apology to anyone that was offended by WWE showing the two women on screen. The apology stated, "The authority has made sure to ban showing of any segment that involves women wrestling or any screens related to it, and stipulated that to the company. The authority also disapproved of any promotional stuff with pictures or videos showing women in any indecent way." Mind you, when they played the segment, you could hear a few cheers, although there were almost certainly a lot of boos. Number 4, Hulk Hogan spits on the USSR flag. In the mid-1980s, there was no easier way to get a crowd to boo a heel than present them as Russian and have them insult the American people. This would be seen on the October 5th, 1985 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event in a match between Hulk Hogan and Nikolai Volkov. Volkov had become infamous for singing the Soviet Union's national anthem before his matches, and this match, of course, was no different. The match was booked the typical way, and with Hogan having a super babyface comeback to win the match. Following Hogan's victory, Hogan would snatch the Soviet flag and then proceed to spit on it and wipe his boots with it.
Now, there's no reason to do this. This is America. This is a free country, McMahon. Hogan has no business. Look at that. That's disgraceful in my opinion.
The incident upset a lot of people, but due to Americans' attitudes towards the USSR and Russia as a whole during this time period, obviously no apology was issued. Number 5, HBK and the Canadian flag. The feud between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in '97 was red hot. This feud was more than just a match, as the two truly hated each other outside the ring. This resulted in one of the best rivalries of all time and some of the best matches in WWE history. During the feud, HBK would make it common practice to purposely mess with the Canadian flag in any way possible. HBK would do things such as wiping his nose on the flag and even humping it.
Disrespecting the Make Believe, obviously, we apologize for that to our friends and our fans in Canada.
Although the antics of HBK were no doubt offensive, it was actually Bret's idea to draw more heat towards HBK.
My job was to be the bad guy, and so I was going to do whatever I had to do with the flag, and
and make the match between the two at 1997 Survivor Series even bigger.
Are you kidding me?
Although that match went beyond anybody being offended over HBK's actions with the flag. Number 6, Chris Jericho and the Brazilian flag. When Chris Jericho returned to WWE in 2012, there was a clear desire for Jericho to once again be the detested heel that he once was.
You're punk. Your father's an alcoholic. Your sister is a drug addict. And you're going to end up just like him. It's inevitable.
Upon returning, Jericho would enter into a feud with CM Punk for the WWE title, and the two would have a featured match at WrestleMania 28. However, despite the Punk feud, it wasn't the feud itself that was the main talking point surrounding Jericho at the time.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, so I would have been taken directly to a Brazilian jail wearing like brief underwear with sparkles on it.
In May of 2012, Jericho was scheduled to wrestle Punk at a WWE live event in Brazil. However, during the show, Jericho kicked the Brazilian flag, which is a criminal offense in the country. Jericho was awkwardly forced to apologize mid-match, or he would have been arrested by Brazilian police.
I'd like to apologize for stepping on the flag. I love Brazil. We're very happy to be here.
Jericho would be suspended for the incident, but Vince McMahon ensured that Jericho got out of Brazil safely. He revealed, "About 6 or 7 years ago, I kicked a flag in Brazil, which is a felony which no one told us beforehand. Like, it's really bad. Long story short, the army wanted me arrested and taken to the jungle prison. He was really mad, very furious. Vince actually suspended me for it, but in the meantime he got me out of there within hours. He's like, you're gonna get out of there now." So we went straight to the airport, got on a plane and took off and went to some other country. We weren't supposed to leave until the next day and he said, "You're leaving now." Number 7. The Undertaker and the Japanese flag.
Yokozuna looking right up into the eyes of The Undertaker.
The feud between The Undertaker and Yokozuna initially began at Survivor Series 93, meaning the time the two had their final encounter at 94 Survivor Series, the two men had been feuding for a full calendar year. The two would have a total of 2 casket matches in the feud, the first being at the 94 Royal Rumble, which The Undertaker would lose after virtually half the roster appeared to help Yokozuna defeat the Dead Man.
I will not rest in peace.
Not to mention Taker self-combusting and then rising up to the heavens. But the latter would be at the aforementioned Survivor Series pay-per-view and would feature The Undertaker finally defeating his arch-rival. Before Taker would slam the casket lid on Yokozuna, he would grab Mr. Fuji's trademark Japanese flag and break it in half over his leg. This was extremely out of character for The Undertaker and certainly upset a lot of Japanese fans, as the WWE's top babyface had just desecrated their flag on worldwide pay-per-view. Luckily, it was not a criminal offense. And number 8, JBL doing the Nazi salute in Germany.
Nobody will ever make it to my level.
In 2004, WWE positioned JBL as one of their top heels. This culminated in winning the WWE title from the legendary Eddie Guerrero in the summer of that year. One of the first matches of JBL's tenure as WWE Champion took place in Germany in June and would be a tag match featuring himself and Booker T facing off against The Undertaker and Guerrero. And JBL for some reason decided it would be a good idea to flash several Nazi salutes at the crowd, then goose step around the ring, which obviously made fans extremely angry. The act is actually illegal in Germany and he was banned from re-entering the country following the incident. JBL would also be fined from his CNBC financial analyst role, however, he showed little to no remorse for his actions. He stated, "I'm a bad guy. I'm supposed to incite the crowd. I've done it for decades. I really didn't think anything of it. I know how bad it is. I've lived in Germany. I draw the line between me and my character." That's like saying Anthony Hopkins, who portrays Hannibal Lecter, really enjoys cannibalism.
Because I really feel that I was horribly misunderstood.
But there you have it, guys. 8 times WWE disrespected and offended an entire country. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.